What if we told you Africa is being robbed daily, and it's not through colonial resource theft or corrupt trade deals? It's something quieter, sneakier, and even more humiliating. Zambia's president just exposed it. Every year, hundreds of thousands of Africans apply for visas to the UK and the EU. Each application comes with a hefty non-refundable fee. And yet, the rejection rates are sky high. For countries like Nigeria, Senegal, and Ghana, up to 50% of these applicants get denied, with no refund. This is not just bureaucratic misfortune. This is a structured form of theft built into the global travel system. In 2024 alone, $70 million in Schengen visa fees disappeared into European pockets, never to be seen again. The UK gobbled up another $59 million. Now Zambia's president Hakainde Hichilema is putting his foot down. He is demanding accountability. He is joining a continent-wide awakening led by Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traore, a movement that says, enough. So what exactly did Zambia do? Why is this moment so explosive? And how does it connect to Traore's revolution that's shaking the world? In this video, let's find out. In a move that shattered diplomatic silence and demanded the world's attention, Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema stood before a global audience and made an unprecedented call: refund the stolen dreams. With measured outrage, he exposed the UK and EU to exploiting African travelers through a rigged visa system that extracts millions in application fees, even when those applications are summarily rejected. It is unacceptable, Hichilema declared, his voice carrying not just Zambia's pain, but the collective frustration of a continent. Our people are paying huge sums, only to be told they don't qualify, and they never get their money back. This is not fairness. This is economic exploitation. He wasn't exaggerating. In 2024 alone, African applicants poured approximately $70 million into the Schengen visa system. The UK's Home Office added another $59 million to its coffers from similar rejections. These are non-refundable, non-transparent, and increasingly non-defensible fees, levied on the basis of opaque criteria that often bear little relation to applicants' qualifications or intentions. But Hichilema wasn't just angry about money. He was angry about what that money represented. It represented hope crushed under bureaucracy. These were not mere applications. They were life plans. Students with dreams of a world-class education. Parents seeking to reunite with their children. Entrepreneurs hoping to attend global summits and expand African trade. All turned away with a cold rejection, a silent no, and not even the courtesy of a reason or refund. His speech struck a nerve because it framed the issue not as a travel concern, but as a human rights violation. And his demand for refunds wasn't just financial. It was moral, political, and revolutionary. Yet Zambia's moment didn't emerge in a vacuum. It was sparked, supported, and made possible by something bigger already building across the continent: a new African doctrine. And at the center of that doctrine stands one name: Traore. While Hichilema was calling out the theft, Burkina Faso's captain Ibrahim Traore was building a fortress against it. At just 37, this revolutionary leader has done more than criticize Western exploitation. He has pioneered a roadmap to end Africa's dependency on it. Where others send students abroad to be shaped by foreign systems, Traore is reforming education at home. Where others beg for infrastructure loans, he is mobilizing local labor and building state capacity. And while Zambia is rightly furious about how Africa is being robbed, Traore's Burkina Faso is working to ensure Africa no longer needs to knock on Europe's doors. Traore's doctrine is grounded in a blunt but brilliant idea. Africa must stop exporting its brains to be trained and drained by foreign powers. Under his leadership, Burkina Faso has already built textile factories that employ thousands of youth, replacing second-hand imports with locally produced goods. He has revolutionized agriculture, allowing farmers to not just feed the nation, but also export surplus crops to neighboring states. He has even launched nationwide vocational programs to train engineers, doctors, and builders, professionals that Africa traditionally sent overseas for training. Traore also mandated that national contracts go to local firms, stopping the outflow of capital to multinational corporations. These aren't symbolic gestures. They are a declaration of war on neocolonial dependency. Traore isn't just building physical roads. He is laying down the mental and economic infrastructure for a future where Africans no longer seek validation from European embassies. And there's a reason why this model is gaining attention. Because every visa rejection in Paris or London makes his model more attractive. Every African student turned away from a UK university becomes more likely to enroll in a Burkinabe or Pan-African one. Every dollar stolen through visa fees becomes one more reason to stay and build. But if Traore is building the new path forward, and Hichilema is calling out the old system, what exactly is that old system? And why is it so effective at crushing hope while extracting wealth? The answer lies deeper than just a corrupt policy. It lies in the DNA of the modern global order. To call the current visa system a scam is to understate its depth and design. This is not just about inefficient bureaucracy or poor customer service. It is about a deeply rooted structural bias, a system that sees African ambition as a threat, not a potential. Numerous investigations, including those by the Lagos Collective and Transparency Visa Watch, have shown that Africans are twice as likely to be denied Schengen visas than applicants from any other region, even when financial status, travel history, and documents are identical. Worse, the rejections often come without any detailed explanation, leaving applicants with no way to challenge decisions or improve future applications. The criteria are secret, the judgments are unappealable, and the cash always non-refundable, and the professionals aren't exempt. Qualified doctors, nurses, and engineers often invited to conferences or job interviews are turned away at staggering rates. Their crime? Having an African passport. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black Africa. Let's continue now. In all this, the money keeps flowing. Visa application centers continue to process hundreds of thousands of applicants. The UK, EU, and even Canada have turned these centers into profit machines. Millions in fees are used to fund embassy expansions, staffing, and border patrol initiatives, not to serve applicants, but to reject them more efficiently. This is not immigration policy. This is economic colonization with paperwork. And this colonization doesn't just affect individuals, it affects entire economies. When thousands of African families are denied reunification, when brilliant students can't access international research, when business people are blocked from trade events, Africa remains cut off from global capital and knowledge. And that's the real disease, a system designed to keep Africa outside the room while charging it admission just to knock on the door. But now the protest has evolved. This is no longer just anger about visa fees. It's a full-blown ideological revolt, one that's reshaping what African leadership means in the 21st century. At its heart stands Captain Ibrahim Traore, who has refused the logic of exodus. His revolution isn't about migration. It's about rooting talent in the soil it was born from. Traore's rallying cry is not to run to Paris or London, but to stay in Ouagadougou and build something powerful enough that Europe notices. Hakainde Hichilema, on the other hand, represents another critical front: economic refusal. His confrontation with Europe isn't driven by ideology alone. It's a matter of justice. Why should Africa continue to pour millions into the coffers of governments that treat its people with suspicion and contempt? Why should rejected visa fees go toward building glass embassies in capital cities while local schools crumble? Together, these two leaders represent opposite ends of the same spear, one building internally, the other exposing externally. But their vision is unified. It rejects the image of African leaders as diplomatic supplicants, men in suits shuffling through Parisian corridors, waiting politely to speak. It rejects the endless global summits where Africa is always a topic, but never a speaker. Traore says, "We don't need to beg. We have everything we need." That isn't posturing. It's a strategy. It's a recognition that the continent's greatest assets, its youth, its minerals, its land, its creativity, are being given away in exchange for loans and handshakes. So what if the $70 million siphoned off by Schengen visa rejections were funneled into building Pan-African tech hubs in Accra or Kigali? What if the £44 million taken from African applicants by the UK Home Office helped construct new medical universities in Lusaka or Bamako? What if, instead of waiting in line at consulates, African youth stood in line at startup incubators or skill academies? This isn't utopia. It's already happening in Burkina Faso, where Traore has empowered local engineers to build roads, factories, and even defense technology, rejecting foreign contractors and employing thousands of young minds. The shift is symbolic. For decades, the West told Africa what development should look like. But what Traore and Hichilema are proving is that true development is not defined by how many World Bank grants you receive, but by how many of your people stay, believe, and build. And now, as that message spreads, a new question emerges. Will other African leaders join them? Or continue the old practice of silence and submission? As of now, a storm is brewing, and it's not limited to the corridors of power. Across African capitals, streets and social media feeds are lighting up with a sentiment we have rarely seen expressed so broadly: enough is enough. In Ghana, hashtags like Refund Africa and Visa Scam are trending. In Kenya, universities are holding student panels on the Traore model, discussing how local manufacturing, education, and investment can replace foreign aid. And in Nigeria and South Africa, nations long seen as too embedded in global finance to revolt, there are growing calls for national leadership to stop exporting the future in exchange for temporary access. Because here's the truth. Every time a young African drowns in the Mediterranean, every time an entrepreneur is denied a visa to pitch their startup abroad, every time a student is rejected by a European embassy after months of planning, it isn't just a personal tragedy, it's a systemic failure. And worse, it's a failure that is funded by African pockets and justified by Western fear. The West may continue to argue that its policies are about national security, economic caution, or legal constraints. But young Africans are no longer buying it. The perception now is clear. The visa system is not broken. It's working exactly as designed, to extract and exclude. That's why Traore's message of internal development resonates. That's why Hichilema's demand for a refund isn't seen as diplomatic outrage. It's viewed as a continental awakening. However, if Africa's leaders fail to seize this moment, to invest in local opportunity, to call out hypocrisy, to refuse the extractive status quo, they risk something far worse than bad optics. They risk watching their youth abandon hope altogether. So the next time a coffin returns from a sunken ship off the coast of Spain, the question won't be, why did they leave? Everyone already knows why. The real question will be, why did our governments leave them no reason to stay? And if Africa answers that question, the way Traore and Hichilema are beginning to, then what we are witnessing isn't a protest. It's the birth of a revolution. What do you think? Should African countries unite and launch a lawsuit for visa fee refunds from Europe and the UK? Could this scandal mark the beginning of an African exit from the Western immigration system? In the comment section below, share your thoughts on whether the billions spent on foreign embassies and scholarships should be redirected to build elite institutions at home in Africa. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring videos on Black Africa, its history, rich arts and culture, and things the world should know about. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.